We're connected to the original people who started this church in a hay tent a couple of blocks down the street here.
I've been a member of this church since birth.
Plymouth is never someplace that stays in the sanctuary. Plymouth goes with you.
Plymouth Church was founded by some of the most forward-looking people who saw the world as it was and were resolved that it should not stay that way. It's interesting to me that we have stayed as anchored to our history as we have. I think it's because our ancestors in this congregation were such forward-thinking people. We can draw strength from them.
They built this building when they had 125 members or so. This place seats 600 or more. So they had a vision.
There's a great quote from Richard Cordley, who was one of the early and the longest serving pastor at Plymouth, that it is not how far we have walked, but the direction that we are walking.
The really beautiful thing about Plymouth is it's never imposing. It's more a place that invites spiritual inquiry. It's a place where I get to explore what it means to be Christian, what it means to be a member of a church.
I want to support the mission of the church into the future. Definitely. So that when people realize they need some spiritual support, that Plymouth will be here.
It was really important to me to land someplace with an emphasis on music, on good quality music. And that's Plymouth and Lawrence.
I love the organ. I'm a music person.
There's nothing like an organ to support choral music and congregational singing. When the whole room is singing and there's an instrument that is surrounding the room, there's something about that that's transcendent.
Church music specifically, it's something that gives you a shape to step into and enjoy.
It captures the human emotion.
You just go, wow.
Complete joy, sorrow.
Even when it's not playing, you can sort of feel it.
It's called the King of Instruments. It can play super soft and it can blow your ears off.
I'm perfectly happy if it blasts me out the back door.
The church was founded in 1854 by abolitionists, people who sacrificed so much. Members, there were 10 of them, 3 of whom were women. The church, which was growing steadily, decided to try to raise money, and the result of that is the sanctuary where we sit today.
In the sanctuary, there's so much history, and there's also some real limitations.
This space, in a lot of ways, and the people that participate in the service are very welcoming, but part of the space with the way the chancel sits today and the choir loft, if we were to try to ever use it again, is not welcoming to all. If you look at the pews with the numbers on them and think about the fact that at one point in time people were paying to sit in that pew, but you paid to sit in the pew as that was one way to raise funds.
Every time money had to be raised to do anything in this church, the people that formed this church came together to do that. They've passed that baton on through the years, and that's where we are right now.
Are we able to live up to the kinds of things that those who went before us were not afraid to take on?
A lot of times you say, we're planting trees that we won't feel the shade of. But I've grown up in the shade of all of those trees that were planted from 1854 on. So I don't see myself planting seeds for trees that I won't feel the shade of. In this campaign, we're doing work we'll be in the shade of immediately.
Capital Campaign has two primary goals. One is to make the chancel area accessible and improve the sanctuary in some key ways. Not only making it possible for anybody, regardless of their mobility capacity, to be part of leading worship, to be up here in the chancel area, to be in front of the congregation. All the spaces that we are engaged in worship are inclusive, accessible, that matches our values.
Really, our physical space needs to be as welcoming as possible, and it is not now today.
Second is caring for our organ.
The console has major issues. Wiring is 70 years old. Things don't speak at the same time. Some things are slower from chamber to chamber, which makes it difficult. It makes it difficult for things to sound even when you play. It's just worn out after 70-some years of use.
If we don't take care of this organ and make it stand the test of time for the next generation or two, what are we gonna do? Just leave it sitting there idle? It's been put off and put off and put off. It's time. We have to do something about it now.
We're budgeting $2 million for the organ and $1.9 million for the chancel accessibility project, bringing the choir loft down, doing that work with the ramps, and increasing accessibility so all are in fact welcome here. There's an additional $500,000 built into the budget for all of the fees that come along with doing this kind of construction work. That gets us to $4.4 million. And because of state historic tax credits, we will be able to lower the total cost of the project by 25%, and the capital campaign is therefore seeking to raise $3.2 million. We're asking folks to go above and beyond what they're already giving over the course of 3 years.
To me, what it says, it isn't just about old people. It isn't just about young people. It's about preserving something in the right way. And that's very important to people, that this gets preserved and updated in the right way.
There's a momentum in the congregation right now, not just numerically, not just in energy, but also in terms of excitement, enthusiasm for giving. It just feels like it's building towards something.
We have to keep moving forward and growing, or things just kind of stop and sit still. And when they stop and sit still, great things cease to happen.
It all goes back to that original group of abolitionists who believed so fervently in the fact that slavery was an abomination in the eyes of God. Propels everybody here, I think, to do the work that needs to be done today. It's really an exciting thing to be a part of.
A big part of it is the church's role in the community and what the church does that seems to me important and essential. And those are the pieces of this church that have mattered to me since we first walked in.
When you say enter in, that's bigger than the church, because it really is about entering into the kingdom of God.
I think the refurbishment of the organ, the room, is looking forward, to the next 50 years. We've got this gorgeous building that we've been given, and it's our time. Take the responsibility, take care of it, update it, make sure it's here for the next 50, 100, 200 years.
Jesus said, you are free to live an abundant life, but also along the way help other individuals. That's the mission.